Hi, boys and girls. So earlier this week, we started to talk a little bit about time. So I want to go ahead and dive into the second page of the time section of your packet. And so on this page, it wants you to, at the top, it wants you to color all of the clocks that point to the hour. So we talked about how, in the last video, we talked about how if something is at the hour, if it's on the hour, the minute hand or the long hand is always going to be pointing at the 12. It's always going to be pointing at the 12. So let's take a look at this. For the first one, our longer hand is pointing at the 12, which tells you that it's on the hour. So I already know I'm going to be coloring this clock because this hand is pointing to the 12, it's on the hour. But what time is it? What number is our hour clock, or is our hour hand pointing to? Well, since the minute hand is on the 12, I know it's going to be zeros, and then it's pointing, the hour hand is pointing to the 5. So with the hour hand pointing to the 5, I know that it's 5 o'clock, meaning it's 5 and nothing else. It's not 5:30, it's not 5:15, it's not 5:10, it is 5 o'clock exactly, 5:00. However, so you can go ahead and color that first one, whatever color you want, or circle it, or whatever you want to do. Just mark that that one is an hour. Let's look at the second one. And the second one I got a little confused on because I couldn't tell which one was the minute hand and which one was the hour hand because they didn't do a very good job of making them shorter and longer. So in this one, this is my hour, my minute hand, and this is my hour hand. Is my minute hand pointing to the 12? No, so it can't be on the hour. It can't be on the hour. Whenever it's pointing to the 12, I'm always going to have that ... If it's pointing to the 12, it's always going to be 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, depending on where your hour hand is pointing. But in this one, it's pointing to the 6, which means it's something 30. So when I'm reading a clock, I always want to look at my minute hand first. I always want to look at my hour hand, or my minute hand first. The longer hand first is what I meant to say. Always check your minute hand first. So it's something 30. Is it 7:30? Is it 8:30? We have to look at the hour hands to find out. So I see that my hour hand is in between my 1 and my 2. So how do I know if it's 1:30 or 2:30? Well, because this minute hand is going to go around over the course of the day, it's going to go all the way around this circle. That's called moving clockwise. It's going to move around that circle. So if it's going this way, that means it hasn't reached the 2 yet. If it's moving this way, eventually it will reach the 2, but it hasn't yet. However, if it's moving this way, it's already gone past the 1. So if it's already gone past the 1, that means this clock shows us 1:30, right? If it was moving this way, that would mean it hadn't reached the 1 yet. But clocks go this way. It's called going clockwise. And since it hasn't reached that 2 yet, it's still in the 1s. So it's 1:30. I want to get a clock where I can show you guys that like moves. I can show you guys what I'm talking about. So you guys won't color that one in because it's not on the hour. On this page, we're only coloring in clocks that are right on the hour. All right, let's look at the next one. Let's take a look at the next one. My long hand is pointing up at the 12. So my minute hand is pointing at the 12. So you guys should know that that means this is on the hour. So you are going to color this one in. It is something o'clock. It's something o'clock. So we know that since my minute hand is pointing to the 12, now we have to look at the hour hand and see what number that hour hand is pointing to. I see that it's pointing to the 10. So in this picture, it is 10 o'clock. So you can color that clock in. So let's look at the very last one and see if it is an hour, if we need to color it in or not. And I believe on the next page we're going to start looking at half hours, which is when the minute hand is pointing to the 6. That means you're halfway through the hour. Let's take a look here. Okay. So, I see that my minute hand is pointing to what number? The 6. So that means it's something 30. Each of these spaces represents 5 minutes. So from 12 to 1 is 5 minutes. From 1 to 2 is 5 minutes. Because this is when it's 0, 0, 0, 5, 10, right? As you go around the clock, it's 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. That's for our minute hand. That tells us what minute it is. The hour hand tells us what hour it is. So right now, we are down here at the 6, which means it is something 30. So now we need to look, let me erase these. We need to look at our hour hand to see what time it is. So, with our hour hand between the 8 and the 9, and we know that the hour hand moves this way, so the hour hand is going to go like this. Has it reached the 9 yet? As time passes, this hour hand is going to go up and hit the 9, but it hasn't yet, which means it's still in the 8s. So it's 8:30 in this clock. So then I want you to try to do the bottom on your own. It wants you to draw the clock hands to match those times. It wants you to draw the clock hands to match 5 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. So remember, when it's something o'clock, that means the hand is going to be pointing, the longer hand, the minute hand, will be pointing up at the 12. So all of your long hands you can draw in right now because they should be pointing straight up at the 12. And then your minute hand is going to point to those 5, 2, and 10. So that should be pretty easy. And then on Monday we'll start going over half hour time. If you have any questions on that, let me know. Bye.